Beware. None will live. None.
The following content contains adult language and humor that is not suitable for viewers under the age of 18. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. The views and opinions expressed during the following video content are those of the individual and may not reflect those of others. Thank you.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
Cash Money can put his change in my piggy bank any day. Big man knows it!
Good evening and welcome, one and all, to this edition of Pacific414 Pop Talk live on both YouTube and Rumble this evening, along with Cashmoney007 and Baron Orman Tagge. I am your host, Mike, and tonight we're going to talk about what's news this week. And what does that mean? That means that we are going to talk about articles that have piqued our interest. And we've decided we are going to discuss them or actually read up on them because we actually didn't know about them.
Did I agree to this?
Of course.
Oh,
of course
okay.
you did.
Remember.
You always agree to it, even if you don't want to. And I do want to say one thing to everybody over on YouTube and Rumble this evening, and that's this. So, gentlemen, how are you doing this evening?
Not too bad. I'm a little scared of the Terminator Cashmoney007 down there. I think he went back to the time to silence us. That's what it is.
Well, don't worry. If he starts getting out of control, Baron, we've got this covered. Don't worry about it.
He's got that rubber band gun. Those rubber bands sting, man. They sting.
Well, if he does decide to attack, Baron, we've got this.
One shall stand, one shall fall. Why throw away your life so recklessly?
Hey, that's cool. Where's that from? That's cool.
Transformers the movie, which we will be watching this month as part of our watch party here on Pop Talk. And that'll happen later this month.
Doesn't look like any Transformer I've seen. Those big little round things that's on those poles that the power lines go to. I mean,
Baron.
But one of my favorite things though is when they were making those mock busters, and Netflix was having on there. They had one that was Transmorphers trying to ride on the bay. It's like, you gotta be friggin' kidding me. I mean, I never watched it, but it's like it was the eye roll. It's like, yeah.
I can remember being in the Walmart here in our area and actually seeing that DVD and going, "Oh, give me a break." Although who knows, it might have been better than the Bay movies.
Well,
never know.
Yeah, it doesn't take much, really.
Well,
nope.
The first three were.
Don't go, your director fawning on us, Cash. Don't you do enough of the simping for what's his name?
I'm not gonna. No, I'm not. I'm not going to sit there and say there weren't some problems with those Transformer movies, but the first three were still better than what came after. Except Bumblebee. Bumblebee was a good movie.
Bumblebee tuna. Yeah, I like Bumblebee tuna.
Yes.
Mhm.
And I do want to take this opportunity to say hello to those who are over on YouTube right now. We have Anonymous. Do, 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 do.
Do-do-do-do.
Anonymous. Do, 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 do.
Do-do-do-do.
And of course, he hails from North Bay.
Okay.
Jason Fox of 540 Studio. Good to see you, Jace.
He's a moose lover. He's a moose, one of the moose lovers.
And of course, he's our favorite, DJ Ronnie G. Tag,
Nerd.
you're it.
Yeah, he spelled my
Turtles.
name wrong. I'm hurt.
He
Turtle
fixed
Power.
it down here. Jeez, man.
I know, he fixed it, but still, I mean, proofreading,
How dare
man.
him.
You gotta proofread. Yeah.
Come on, man.
Hey, you know, we go after Bounty in the comics. Why not? You know,
As we should.
Yeah, we go after Bounty in the comics, but I will admit there have been times where I've said something in the chat and I didn't correct my spelling. I just hit enter and it's like, oh man. Or even in my tweets, I'll admit it.
Oh yeah, I mean, you having fat fingers like I got, I mean, you get the typos. I'm the king of typos, man. The king of typos. And of course, autocorrect is our fiend. You know, autocorrect is our fiend. So
Autocorrect, yeah. It's the bane of all of our existence. That's not what I meant to say.
You're right.
Thanks, autocorrect.
I didn't want to say duck. I wanted to say never mind.
Yeah. Yes. But some of the articles we'll be talking about during the 2 hours were on YouTube and Rumble, and then the third hour over on Rumble. And if we don't get to all these articles, that's okay, because that's why I keep them in the description below so you all can read them on your own. But we're going to talk about the banned Trans Joker movie finally has a trailer and a theatrical release. Honestly, I didn't know about this until you posted the article, Baron.
Yeah, and basically that was like about 2 seconds after I found out about it. I guess we got ourselves a real Transformer going on. But I'm bumped.
And then we have a story from Fox News where Dakota Johnson, not surprised by Madam Web reviews, probably will never do anything like it again.
So dramatic all the time.
Well, I just gleamed a little bit on there, and it's like, well, if she's saying what is true about it, yeah, I can see her being a little torqued off and more than happy to go after it. I mean, when your star is going after trashing the movie, it's like, yeah, what did you do wrong now?
And now there are those of us who really did like Rebel Moon, gave it a 9 out of 10. Some of us gave it a 7 out of 10. But apparently Zack Snyder says there's going to be a 6-hour cut on the way of Rebel Moon.
Guess that's not too surprising.
There's somebody in the chat. I'm sure he's going to be sitting down with a couple boxes of Kleenex, a couple tubs of lotion, and he's going to get ready for that. And he's going to be mighty raw after that. But yeah, he's going to. I know he's probably going to go through that whole thing. In one sitting.
And everybody knows about Dune Part 2 coming out this weekend. Well, apparently Dune 3 status has been revealed by a legendary entertainment CEO. So we'll definitely take a look at that article. And you know what? Let's go ahead and start off with this article. I think this is fun. And I know it's saying that it's available at one chain, but I'm hoping other theaters will have it. Specifically, AMC, my theater chain, RC Theaters, because I was telling Baron off stream that if I'm going to get in these popcorn buckets, I'm going for the trap.
Oh yeah,
that's pretty cool.
It looks cool.
It's a trap.
I looked at the trap, Ray. It's full of popcorn. So let me go ahead and post the links on the YouTube and Rumble side. And again, I hope everyone is doing well on this evening.
I like that. If we don't get all the subjects on here, we're going to make you work and you can read them. I like that attitude. Way to do a show.
Well, the reason I did that, Baron, is because there were times where, there are articles that I wanted to discuss during the show, and then we get off topic, especially when we had the open panels each and every episode of Pop Talk. That I just said, finally, you know what? I'll keep those links in there, and if somebody chooses to read articles that we didn't get to, well, cool. And if they don't, no big deal.
I like that. It's actually, honestly, it's a good thing to do. That way they know where we were going if we were to get there. And hopefully stories they haven't seen before. Like some of the stories that we're going to have tonight.
Yep. And we have Phil McCracken who says Pacific414. Oh, it's healing, the healing show. Pop Talk heals and saves.
From
Good to see you, Phil.
worst
Hope you're
troll
doing well
ever.
tonight. So we have this article from film.com. Well, /film.com is what it's actually called. And it's by Ethan Anderson. It was posted on Monday. And look at this, folks. Isn't this a nice looking souvenir? Slimer's not too bad, but look at the trap. That's a nice looking souvenir.
Yeah, it's not as cool as the Dune fleshlight, but yeah, I'd have that. The trap.
It says, even though movie theaters have been struggling for years, especially in the wake of the still lingering pandemic, multiplex chains have been seeking out more ways to make money outside of tickets and typical concessions. And one of them seems to be panning out. Pretty much every week, movie theater chains like AMC Theaters and Cinemark are releasing exclusive collectible popcorn buckets, from a pink Corvette for Barbie to the provocative sandworm container for Dune Part 2.
You know what this reminds me of? You know what this reminds me of? The old days when you would go to the theaters and they give you a dish. And if you go to all these movies, you'd have basically a full setting, of plates and bowls and stuff like that. That's what this kind of reminded me of. They're going back to the basics, man. That's how you do it.
Yeah, that's how you win people back. It's become quite a lucrative revenue stream, according to the Hollywood Reporter. So it should come as no surprise that Ghostbusters Frozen Empire is heading into the popcorn bucket arena. AMC Theaters has unveiled their lineup of Ghostbusters Frozen Empire movie merchandise that will be available online and in your local theater. I wonder if they ship to my area. Curiosity. And it includes 2 unique popcorn buckets inspired by the beloved franchise. Unlike the Ecto 1 popcorn bucket released for Ghostbusters Afterlife, which had a rusty paint job that looked more like a street crap, both of these are awesome collectibles that will look cool on a shelf. One of them turns the Hungry Slimer into a translucent, ghostly container, while the other transforms a signature piece of Ghostbusters gear into something that perfectly traps popcorn for you. Take a look below and find out how you can get them.
You know what frightens me? Someone might go out, get the Slimer one, and then come home and they have the Dune one and they put them together, and I'm just going to stop there.
Oh boy, Parrot, oh boy.
Hey, that's a fear. It keeps you up at night.
And Phil says about Pop Talk healing and saving, can we get an amen? Amen!
This is Patrick Stewart, and I wish to tell Phil McCracken that I hate him also.
And this is definitely a question for Cash. Where's my Sword Art Online?
Season 2 is really bad, Phil. I don't know if you want to go through it. It's terrible. Season 3 is way better, but season 2 is rough.
Rough how? I mean, is it bad?
It's
bad
it's a mess.
Hmm.
Just this whole thing about this whorehouse and some other stuff. It starts off pretty good, but then it goes into a weird direction. And yeah.
As long as it doesn't involve Slimer and the Slimer popcorn things and the Dune popcorn things being put together. That's all I have.
True.
Yes.
It says, first up, we've got the Slimer popcorn bucket. Images shown that it's translucent and the popcorn goes right into Slimer's mouth. And thankfully, it doesn't fall out of his wrinkly little butt. Although I think that would be funny if it did.
It did. It would be, but that just sounds disturbing.
Yeah. The mouth seems like a small opening, both for filling with popcorn and getting out. But honestly, I think I'd rather use that as a candy bowl rather than getting butter and grease inside of Slimer's blobbly body. Well, I mean, it looks small in the pictures, but if you see it in person, looks can be deceiving. You never know.
But that's still a great idea. A candy bowl afterwards.
Yeah.
I like that idea. Yeah. Especially on Halloween.
And it says, however, buyers should be beware because Ghostbusters News got some shots of the bucket in hand, and it appears the final sculpt may not look nearly as cool as it appears in the photos. Well, no, nothing's ever going to look exactly like they make it look in the photos.
No, that is true. They can get it close, though, but no.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it goes on to say, while the mouth opening is much bigger, the plastic is apparently far less translucent, and it could end up being a disappointment. Perhaps that news made it back to AMC theaters because it's not currently listed on the website after being available for sale just before the weekend. There's a chance it's sold out, but the Loungefly Proton Pack backpack also on the site is actually sold out, but it's still listed there. So maybe there's a problem with the Slimer bucket. I don't know.
Maybe.
The good news is if you're looking for a popcorn bucket that actually looks more like what AMC teased on their website, it appears that Cinemark has their own Slimer popcorn bucket that's similar but a tad different. It's not available online, but images have popped up that shows Slimer holding a Cinemark popcorn bag in front of his mouth, as you can see in the Cinemark post to the Twitter, and this is it right here. So this is Cinemark's right here, and then of course you have these popcorn buckets right here, your souvenir drink cup, collectible plushies. Okay. And then hopefully AMC's other Ghostbusters Frozen Empire popcorn bucket offering will come through because it looks awesome. Yeah, I said that already. I mean, looking at this, if you could have one of the two, I would definitely pick the Trap over Slimer.
Yep.
They've taken the classic Ghost Trap and turned it into a popcorn bucket using some translucent plastic as the container, representing the beams of light that come out of the trap when, catching ghosts.
No, I believe
There is yeah. The game from 2009 and also Spirits Unleashed. There is also a Ghostbusters logo printed on the beam bucket. Plus, you can take the beams off so the trap can be displayed on the shelf. If you want to get your hands on this one, you'll have to head to the AMC's theater's movie merchandise website starting on March 23rd, the week that the movie opens. Sorry. In theaters.
You're good, dude.
Keep an eye out at your local multiplex for other Ghostbusters Frozen Empire movie merchandise, like more traditional buckets, cups, drink toppers, hats, plushies, and more. Well, again, even if my local theater doesn't have it here, and I know this item especially would probably sell out very quickly,
Mhm.
I'm gonna look and see how much they're asking for it on the 23rd, and that'll really determine whether I say, yeah, I'm gonna pick it up, or I go, maybe it's not worth it.
Yeah, you got to see it in person. You really do.
Yeah. I mean, again, sorry. Again, these promotional images are always designed to look great, but sometimes you get it in person and it's like, it's not all it's cracked up to be.
You get your hopes up, and then it gets dashed.
So, Baron, Cash, if you have an AMC near you and you see one of these items, would you pick them up or would you pass on them?
Again, it depends on what it looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Without the delay.
All right.
StreamYard is
So
having
we're
all
going to
kinds
go
of
ahead and.
Anyways, go ahead.
All right. Let's go ahead and move on to our next story. Is anybody ready to sit through 6 hours of Rebel Moon?
Got my cushion already, and we got a moose lover out there who would. We all know that moose lover would. Yeah.
Yeah, Jace. We know he probably would sit through it. I don't know that I would necessarily sit through it because I didn't want to sit through 4 hours of Justice League. And I had to take breaks watching that. But according to this article from Cosmic Book News, we will be getting a 6-hour cut of Rebel Moon, according to Zack Snyder. Snyder says he's interested for people to see it and that it could be the superior viewing of the movies. This was published a day ago on their website. And the summary is basically Netflix releasing a 6-hour cut of Rebel Moon, Part 1 and 2 on the same day. Director Zack Snyder has confirmed that the director's cut will include additional footage and be rated R. The director's cut is expected to be released in summer 2024, with each movie being an hour longer than the original PG-13 versions. Apparently, Netflix is going to release a massive 6-hour cut of Rebel Moon, and that's going to be Part 1 and Part 2, according to Zack Snyder, on the same day. Zack Snyder, who came up with the story and directed and produced the flick, has also confirmed his director's cut will feature additional footage and be rated R, as the regular Netflix versions are both PG-13. Those will come out probably on the same day later, Snyder told the Minutemen YouTube channel. We don't have a date yet, but I think it's going to be in the summer. Snyder added, they're each about an hour longer than the originals, the PG-13 versions, so it'll be nice to see the 6 hours together. You can take a break, of course, and it's a more maybe immersive experience. I'm interested for people to see it that way. It's very adult. It's very rated R. Rebel Moon Part 1 is already out on Netflix, with Part 2 due out April 19th, 2024.
Does that mean with the goobies?
I don't know. I don't know. They, I mean, as far as I know, they didn't release part one in the theaters, and if they did, it was a very limited release.
Mm-hmm.
So it says Snyder also previously said, with almost an hour of new footage for each movie, and a majority of this hopefully fleshing out the characters and making them more compelling, the Rebel Moon director's cuts could actually end up being the superior cuts of the films.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of talk there, Zach.
Yeah.
I'll be able to back that up. And the thing is, we already know that there are people who just don't like Zack Snyder films.
Right. Or just Zack Snyder. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of that extra footage that we'll be having is probably going to be slow motion. So, I mean, when those scenes start happening, just get up and go, you know, cook something up. When you come back, the action should start happening again.
No, what's going to be funny, Baron, is you get up, you make your dinner or your lunch or even your breakfast, depending on when you're watching this, heck, your midnight snack, and those
Mhm.
slow motion scenes are still going on.
Yeah. In fact, the whole movie's now slow motion, folks. And the slow motion they had in the film is even slower.
Yeah. So it goes on to say Rebel Moon Part 1 got slammed by both the critics and the fans. Its Rotten Tomatoes score is only at 21%, and the audience score is only at 58%. All right.
I don't think it's deserving that. I really don't. But again, I think there is a lot of fight against Zack Snyder because, well, he was a total ass.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, you know, I mean, let's be honest about it.
Yeah, he hasn't endeared himself to a lot of the fans.
Mhm.
Yes, there are those fans who do like him,
Mhm.
but there's also another section of the fans that, you know, he just has basically turned his nose up at.
Mhm. Washed away. Exactly. And you never want to do that.
No. You don't want to do that even here on YouTube, on Rumble, Twitch, and Kick. You never want to turn your nose up at a portion of your audience. Everybody's there for a reason.
Can I turn my nose up
And
at furries?
well, that's all you, Baron. That's all you. I'm not going
Okay.
to tell you what to do.
Okay.
You're your own man, Baron.
I am? Wow. A lot of pressure there.
I
A lot of
thought
pressure.
you were. I thought you were, unless there's something you're not telling us.
Yeah, that's a lot of pressure, man. That's adulting, man. That's adulting. Game over. It's over, man.
Oh, it's never over, Baron. It's never
I know.
over.
My nightmare never is over. Except the fact that Obi's gone. That nightmare is gone. No backsies.
No.
He's gone, man. No backsies. No backsies at all.
So, what does everybody think? We're getting these director's cuts of Rebel Moon Part 1 and Part 2 eventually, and
Mhm.
it's going to be a 3-hour movie for both parts. Is that something you'd be interested in watching?
Oh, yeah. I'd like to see what is added to the story for that first part that
Me too.
that he didn't think that was in there, and I think there was some stuff in there that would help flesh things out a little more. So yeah, I'm really excited, and they said that the part 2 was going to come out with the extended right away. If that's the case, I'd probably watch that one.
Mm-hmm.
As long as it's good. And I thought the first one was good. I think a lot of the hate that's been put on it is not really justified. I mean, yeah, if it's not your cup of tea, fine. But I do think there's a lot of people out there hating on it because it's Zack Snyder. I'm not a Zack Snyder simp. I'm not
No.
someone who doesn't like, that doesn't like him. I'm not one of those. It's very neutral on him, and I think that's what helped me enjoy the experience the first time. So yeah, I'm kind of excited to see what direction, if this actually does improve, or in some cases, they have a tendency to really screw up what they already had, because maybe that should have been cut out, and now it's distracting to the story. We'll have to see.
Yeah,
Because the director's cut doesn't mean it's going to be good.
exactly.
Mhm.
You could be watching the director cut of part 1 and go, I could see why they decided not to include this in the official release.
Right.
Especially if it takes away from the story.
And this is coming from a person that prefers the original theatrical release of Blade Runner over the others. I did like the voiceovers that Harrison Ford was doing. Yeah, I realized he was doing it in such a droll way, but I thought that was important because that's how the character was. Despite their best efforts to, wah on it, they actually improved the character with that narration. I thought that tired, weary, I'm done with. So, I hope it's going to be better. But just because it's a director's cut or the director's vision does not mean it's going to come out and be better or titillate me, you might say.
How about you, Cash?
Yeah, I want to see part 2, and then I'll watch the director's cut and see. I just hope part 2 is as good as part 1. I like Cora's story, and I had this discussion with Crit yesterday, and I said, even if people want to say that we've seen this before, I don't think it was bad. Yes, I didn't care for too much of the slow motion, but overall, I still thought the story was good with Cora. I like this whole thing about building the rebellion against the evil empire, basically, whatever. Yes, we've seen it before, but it can be done in a good way. So,
well, yeah. Well, the thing is, we've seen it before. We've seen it before Star Wars. We've seen this is an age-old story of of the underdog or the underclass rising up.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, that kind of rings a little hollow. It's like, yeah, of course we've seen it. This part, it's been part and parcel of the hero's journey, that those sagas. So yeah, it is something. It's just, how are you going to deliver it different? And I thought he had a unique take on it. I did. I mean, so yeah, I can see the influences that he had. I can see the influences from Dune. I can see the influences from Warhammer. I can see the influences from Star Wars. I can see all those influences, but then again, you look at Star Wars and you see the influences of the stuff that George Lucas had. You take a look at Star Trek, you see the influences that Gene Roddenberry had. So yeah, that rings hollow to me. It's just, how do you prepare this dish? It's steak. Okay, what's different about this steak? Well, we added this. Okay, great. Let's see how it is. But a steak is still a steak, is still a steak.
Right. Yep, I agree.
And I'll give part 2 a chance. I gave part 1 a chance, and I'll make up my own mind whether I like it or not.
No, you'll like it. You will.
And, well, speaking of liking or not liking it, certainly looks like the cast of Madam Web are treading on their own movie.
Notice how the show is going faster without Big Daddy T-Gap delivering a story for us today.
Yeah, I think he's just working.
T-Gap, I hope you're okay, brother.
Me too.
I don't know where you live, but I know there's been wet weather all along the East Coast. Because we've had heavy rain the last few days.
Oh, I saw the pictures coming out of New Orleans, and they've been having the flooding. Looks like the French Quarter didn't really get hit, but other parts did. So.
Yep. So, Dakota Johnson, not surprised by Madam Web reviews. Probably will never do anything like it again. 34-year-old's promotion for Madam Web has been dubbed unhinged on social media. Well, let's get into this and make up our own mind. Dakota Johnson has no illusions about the critical and commercial reception of her latest movie, Madam Web. Johnson responded to the negativity in a new interview with Bustle, saying, "Unfortunately, I'm not surprised that this has gone down the way it has." She said later in the interview, "But it was definitely an experience for me to make that movie. I had never done anything like that before. I probably will never do anything like it again because I don't make sense in that world, and I don't know, and I know that now." Come on, Mike, read.
No, that kind of sounds like a lot of women that dated me.
Wait.
I didn't want. I'm never going to do it again. You know.
Oh my God.
Well, you never know what the pitch was to get her to sign on.
I never do that again. I mean, well, maybe she's right.
And that's just it. You know, there's been a lot of actors and actresses that signed on for something because they were said it's going to be this way, and then lo and behold, it's not. And it's like, what have I got myself into?
It says Johnson.
I would also. Yep.
Go ahead, Cash.
Go ahead. Oh no, I was just saying. I also want to know: does she know any of the background of this woman? Like, it's just.
I don't think so.
I think like if I'm gonna be like Dakota, like this is like the background of this woman. Now she's supposed to be older now. You know, we can look over the comics a bit. You know, like maybe 1 or 2 comics, and get more of the background. But then I'd also be like, is this really a character that you want to play? Because a lot of fans have not been ever interested in a Madam Web movie, as far as I know. But
yeah,
they're going to do it anyways, right?
Well, I'm sure she did. I mean, she's kind of making it known this isn't my world, which means she doesn't really know anything about this. And you know how they are when they get in. We've been told many times, don't read the comics, don't read the source material. How many times
that's the latest trend in Hollywood where they're telling
it is.
Actors and actresses, don't read the source material. We're not going by the source material. I mean, even for Peacemaker, John Cena was told don't read the source material because James Gunn wasn't even using the original Peacemaker comic.
Which is stupid. Yeah,
which gives us this. Boy, now I have to really scroll for this one. Now where the hell is it?
What the hell you say?
I can use where it's at now.
That one to the top.
I know.
Closer to the top.
Close to the top.
Because we use it so frequently. It says Johnson also noted that the final film wasn't exactly what she had signed up for. Let's see. It goes on to say, but sometimes in this industry, you sign on to something and it's one thing, and then as you're making it, it becomes a completely different thing. And you're like, wait, what? But it was a real learning experience. And of course, nice to be part of something that's ripped to shreds, but I can't say that I don't understand. Well, so you got to figure studio heads stepped in too, and we know what happens when studio heads step in as a movie's being made.
Well, yeah, I mean, look at the disasters of the Star Wars Disney films, where they basically throw directors out when the film's almost done, do all these reshoots, things get changed, and it ends up being nothing like what you were told this is going to be. And, they did that with Solo. They did that with, it worked out for Rogue One, but still they had that problem too, where that wasn't exactly what they signed on for. Things got changed. What was it? They were saying the same thing about the rise of Soy Walker or Palpatine, where basically things were being changed all the time. It's like, oh, here's the new script. This is the new script for this one. Oh, we're changing this, we're changing that. It's like, and midstream. So, all movies I know have little changes here and there. Star Trek: The Motion Picture, it had some changes, like the spacesuit scene inside V'ger. That was going to be a lot more intense, but everyone was looking at it going, no, this looks too cheap. We just can't do it. And Douglas Trimble turned around and we did that with Robert Weiss's blessing. We did all that to make it more cohesive and look better.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, sometimes it's for the better. A lot of times it's for the worse. So I have a tendency to really believe what Dakota's saying here. I bet you she had an agent sit back and say, listen, these are hot right now. No, these films are so hot. You got to be part of it now. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
And then you go in there and...
I don't know when this might have been pitched to her. It could have been at the height of comic book movie films.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, I mean, it's the Sony end, and the Spider-Man stuff has been so successful, so they're saying, hey, it's not Disney, this is Sony. So they're going to do it right.
Yeah.
It goes on to say, in the film, Johnson played the titular character of Cassandra Webb, Madam Webb, clairvoyant paramedic linked to the iconic superhero Spider-Man. Madam Webb earned only $26.2 million over the 6-day holiday weekend from its premiere on Valentine's Day to President's Day, per Variety. The debut of Madam Webb marked the lowest opening for any film in the Sony Spider-Man universe and one of the worst starts for any movie based on a Marvel Comics character. The movie was met with an onslaught of negative reviews and currently holds an abysmal 13% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes with an underwhelming 55% audience score.
Mm-hmm. I have to sit back and see. Oh, sorry. But I do have to say it's refreshing to hear the stars coming out there, knowing that they got hosed over, and are more than happy to say this.
It stinks.
Yeah, and they're happy to mock it, so good for them.
Even Sydney Sweeney, who was hosting Saturday Night Live this weekend, in the opening monologue, roasted Madam Webb. Says Johnson also told Bustle that it is so hard to get movies made, and she has seen a shift in movies, both big and small, where decisions are being made by committees, and art does not do well when it's made by a committee. No, it doesn't, because you don't have creative people involved, people who are actually going to be making the movie on set each and every day.
You don't have the whiteboard of diversity like they do for the man, High Republic, man. Oh,
but Baron, dinosaurs, man.
I have not seen
dinosaurs.
Where's the freaking dinosaurs? You know what? You know who had dinosaurs? The EU. The EU had dinosaurs. Up yours, Disney.
Oh, there was a dinosaur in Jedi Survivor.
Well, yeah, but I don't mean to be cruel or anything, but that's not in what they were promising for them. Yeah, High Republic, let's change that dinosaur out for, hey man, wouldn't it be cool if it was a rock and we call him Geode? Oh man, look how clever we are, because Geode means rock, man.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah, and we'll call the ship. It will call the ship Vessel, man. Get it? Vessel, like a starship, man. Yeah. Where's the whiteboard of diversity, man? I've got to get that in there.
Oh boy. It says films are made by a filmmaker and a team of artists around them. She continued, you cannot make art based on numbers and algorithms. My feeling has been for a long time that audiences are extremely smart, and executives have started to believe that they're not. Audiences will always be able to sniff out BS, bullshit, even if films start to be made with AI. Humans aren't going to effing want to see those. Well, she's right about that.
Right. And she got it right. She got it
yeah.
right. This is what we hear.
I call bullshit. I call bullshit.
Yeah.
True to her deadpan humor when it comes to handling the press, Johnson joked during the interview that she could predict the headlines that would stem from her conversation with the outlet. Like Dakota Johnson breaks her silence on Madam Web's effing box office failure, she said. It's like, no, I'm not breaking any silence. I'm just talking. During her press tour for Madam Web, sorry, many felt Johnson appeared disinterested and dismissive of the movie, with some social media users calling her interviews unhinged. Well, maybe she saw the final product and, like many of us, went, "No, this movie looks terrible."
Yeah. I mean, how is it unhinged? If you're going out there and you're going out and you're saying, "Hey, polish this turd for us," go out there like you really, like this film means everything to you, and it doesn't. I mean, there comes the limit that some actors can't act, especially when it comes to their career, because this can be damaging to a career.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in her own way, she's doing damage control for her career by what she's doing.
Yeah. She wants to have a future, and she's willing to distance herself from this train wreck.
Because all you need is a good train wreck to throw you off. And she's not afraid to go out there and explicitly say, okay, no, now that the press tours and all that, because it's not polite to go out there and say it stinks during the initial press junket to get people to come in. Now it's said and done, is now she's out there freer, able to say what was on her mind. Kind of like Mark Hamill. I mean, Mark Hamill was going around there warning everybody about how bad The Last Jedi was.
Yeah.
I mean, he was lackluster about it, and he was making comments, and then he was taken to the woodshed and say, "Don't do that." But he still made his LP and knowing. I mean, when he was on The Big Bang Theory, he was wearing that bloody Mickey Mouse shirt or something like that. So it's like he has no love for them. He knows what they did to his seat.
And he made it known in his interviews, like you're saying.
Yeah. The thing is he came back for the Rise of Palpatine. Why? Well, he was contracted to. He couldn't break the contract.
If he broke the contract, then his lawyers and Disney's lawyers would have gone to court about it.
At least he got his vindication in the season 2 finale of The Mandalorian. I mean, if that's the last he does the Luke Skywalker, he went out with a bang. Not the whimper that he was in the Disney, movies.
Yeah. And it goes on to say, here, every unhinged interview that Dakota Johnson gives makes me want to see Madam Web even more, one person wrote. And one example of her apparent lack of enthusiasm for the film, during an NTV interview, host Josh Horowitz noted that there was a scene in the movie in which Johnson's character dies for 3 minutes. After Johnson appeared confused, Horowitz asked, "Do you remember that?" "She does? I haven't seen the movie," Johnson said. "You could be right."
You know what? I'm going to call bullshit.
Maybe she was already trying to block the movie out of her mind.
I'm going to call. I don't know. I'm going to call bullshit on that, because I know from personal experience that stars will sit back and say crap like that. When I went to see Predator, it was for the little press junket here in the Twin Cities, and of course, who's from the Twin Cities? Jesse Ventura. And so I was kind of I can't. Not even acquaintances with him, but we worked on an air show where he was an honorary committee member, which means I don't have to do anything, right? But I had a nice little pleasant conversation with them at the Predator thing and such. And his wife is really lovely, by the way, too. She's a nice lady. I don't know how she got stuck with him. But then the next day, he's on the radio promoting Predator, right? And they go, have you seen the film at all? No, I haven't seen the film yet. And I'm sitting there going, bullshit. You were like 2 rows in front of me. We talked. We had a conversation. We didn't shake hands, but we had a conversation.
He probably just didn't remember that conversation, Baron.
No.
I know he doesn't.
I don't even remember that conversation. I know that's not really Jesse Ventura, but
I don't remember that conversation. I have no time to read. No, and I'm sure he doesn't. No, because of all the things, he probably doesn't know me from Adam. Like I said, I've only I had interactions with him a couple times with these things. So of course he's in Twin Cities. Of course you're going to run into him, just like I used to run into Neil Gaiman when he was living up in this way. So, and of course he's not going to sit back and necessarily remember me. But the thing is when they sit back and say I haven't seen the film, I call bullshit on it. I bet she did, and you're probably right. She was trying to block it out of her head because, oh my God, this sucks. It's kind of like almost making a statement that this film is so bad, even I didn't watch it, even though she probably did. So I'm gonna call bullshit on that, especially for a premiere. I mean, when you're gonna go to a premiere, you're gonna see the film.
Yeah. It says Johnson admitted to Buswell, all that stuff is ridiculous. It's hard for me to fake it. It's hard for me sometimes to go along with the silliness of doing a press tour. She added, that's why I have my own, my own company. In a movie like that, referring to Madam Web, I have no say about anything. The 50 Shades of Grey store also addressed the headlines about her needing 14 hours of sleep, revealing that it actually caused a fight with someone she knew. I know some people that can really pack it in. 14 hours of sleep.
Wow, I wish I could do that. The only time that happened to me was when I got struck by lightning, but that's beside the point. Besides the point. It hasn't affected me much.
I mean, I'm glad if I get 5 hours of sleep.
Yeah, I didn't get much sleep last night. I had a little bout of insomnia last night, so I didn't get to bed until like after 2 o'clock, and then of course the wife's all perky. Time to get up. I was like, yeah. Separate bedrooms are starting to look nice now. We got that extra one now that we kicked the kid out. Yeah, there we go. No.
It says, truly, but I know I've exaggerated in this interview, and you can tell that I'm exaggerating, but you see my face. If it's written down, it's hard, but it's fine. I got into a funny little fight with somebody, she said. I was really annoyed by everyone in the world talking about my sleep schedule, and someone that I know was like, but do you really sleep 14 hours, right? A night, sorry. That's amazing. And I was like, did you read the article or did you just read the effing headline, a-hole? I bet her head off. Goes on to say, in the original interview with the Wall Street Journal, Johnson said, I'm not functional if I get less than 10. I can easily go 14 hours. Adding, I don't have a regular wake-up time. It depends on what's happening in my life. If I'm not working, if I have a day off on a Monday, then I will sleep as long as I can. Sleep is my number one priority in life. With both, so she further clarified, I don't have a 9-to-5 job, so I don't wake up at the same time every day. Some days, if I'm shooting, I'm waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I work a 17-hour day. And then when
Mhm.
I'm not working, I sleep a lot because I'm effing exhausted or I'm depressed. So just like everybody,
Uh-huh.
F off.
I
That
think we
said,
got it
John.
right there. I think we got it right
Mhm.
there. Bet you she, I mean, obviously I don't know, but saying about depressed sounds like she's got depression issues and probably a little narcoleptic.
Mhm. That
Understandable.
said, yeah, it is very understandable. That said, Johnson admitted she likes to exaggerate or lie when speaking with the press, saying it's the most fun, the most fun. Yeah, but
Mhm.
is that the truth or is that a lie in itself? I mean, I'm just going by what she said here
Mhm.
that she
Well,
likes to
yeah.
exaggerate or lie.
You know what? And I don't blame her. She's
Hmm.
dealing with the paparazzi. They need to get their chain yanked. You build a mythology about yourself. We make a mythology about it. It's not being unhinged. It's called
No,
trolling them. She's trolling them, man.
no. I mean, you can come to this channel and I'm playing a game, and there are times I'm very excited when I'm playing a game, depending on what it is. And then other times I'm playing a game, I'm concentrated. I'm still talking with everybody and saying what I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to do in the game, but depending on the game, I could be having fun or I can be serious and concentrating. It's like, no, I got to get this
Mm-hmm.
done.
Mm-hmm. Company. Okay, how do I die spectacularly this time? I got to make this death more spectacular than the last one. Come on.
Ha 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 ha.
Hey, you're the king.
You're
You're
so
the king of.
funny. Yeah, you're so funny. You know that? I could.
Well, it's entertainment, man. Entertainment, man. Come on, man.
Although surprisingly, and I know I'm jinxing myself right now, I haven't died that many times in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
How about Mad Max?
Oh, I've died a few times.
Yeah.
I've died a few glorious deaths with
Mm-hmm.
explosions around me.
Oh yeah, you have glorious deaths in Mad Max. There's no doubt about it. I mean, when you kind of die in that one, yeah, you're kind of upset that you did get killed, but it's like you're watching, going, "Damn, that's the way I want to go out if it was in that world."
And I do want to say hello to TGAP Steve over on YouTube. It says first, I am sorry for not having Beverly Hills 414 for today. Things came up that ate up the time for it. Second, mythology. You guys have your own series. I know, I wrote it.
Ah,
Mm-hmm.
No problem,
Yeah.
TGAP.
it's
It's like I
our
said
joke,
earlier
man.
on the
Yeah.
show with all the wet weather on the East Coast, and I don't know where you live. But all the wet weather that we're having on the East Coast, and of course, other places are having wet weather.
Yes.
Things come up.
He lives in the land of in the state of confusion. So we should have started the show up with tonight's episode of Beverly Hills 414 has been how do they did that now is not going to be seen tonight, that we can bring you this special presentation.
Wait, special presentation. Some people might
Mhm.
look at Pop Talk and say these cards are special.
Yeah,
Wink, wink,
yeah,
wink,
we are.
nudge, nudge.
You got it. It's like, wow, they actually got to articles before the half hour mark.
And DJ Ronnie G says, I mean, I'd read it.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go ahead and get into this article from Superhero Hype about the status of Dune 3.
Okay. See, I haven't seen Dune yet. Dune 2 yet. So did it end kind of on a cliffhanger?
Yeah,
Okay. So I'm
yeah.
wondering.
I enjoyed it. And like I said in
Mhm.
my review, part of the reason I enjoyed it was due to the fact that I didn't get to see the first one in 2021 in theaters. So yeah, seeing Doom Part 2 in theaters, that did impact my thoughts
Mm-hmm.
and review.
So I wonder if they're doing it as a trilogy with the 3 parts that's in the book, because I don't know where they end up in Dune Part 2. I don't, I
I
want to
don't
be, be surprised.
I'm not going to
but
tell you. I'm not going to
don't.
tell you. That's why.
No. Mhm.
That's why when I do my end of the theater thoughts and reviews, I try not to give away any spoilers. I just
Mhm.
try to give a quick, at least 1 minute video on my
Mhm.
thoughts on the movie, and
Mhm.
that's it. Because I used to do 15, 20-minute videos
Mhm.
giving a review on a movie, and I noticed that wasn't really gaining too much traction. So
Mhm.
I thought to myself, all right, let's just shorten it to a minute,
Yeah. Mhm.
like a New York minute.
Well, yeah, never mind. I'm not going to say anything. But
No,
yeah,
go
I mean,
ahead, go ahead.
sounds like my
You're,
love life,
you're
but
not.
that's beside the point. Well, you said say it.
Yeah, yeah. You know me.
Hmm. But the reason why I kind of asked if it ended on a cliffhanger, because I was led to believe they're only going to do 2 movies all along. And it's like, whoa, they're going to try to cram basically 3 parts or 3 books inside the book into 2 movies. When you had the Sci-Fi Channel, they did that, 3 parts, 2 hours each on each part of the
Hmm.
books. So it's like, wouldn't that be the same for the Dune movie? And wouldn't they have everything secured on it? Well, I guess we'll find out.
Yeah. And I want to say hello to Dempsey. It's good to see you, Dempsey. Hope you've been doing well, brother.
MC.
Dempsey.
And TGAP says, well, the director has said that movie 3 is Dune Messiah. I don't think that's a spoiler unless Baron
Okay.
is easily startled.
Ah! That's what I was wondering. I was wondering if they were going to go into the other books after that. So,
Only by
what they
Gremlins and
did on the
Slimer. That's
Sci-Fi
where it
Channel, they
goes.
had. Well, because the Sci-Fi Channel did do the follow-up, Children of Dune, which was Dune Messiah and the Children of Dune put together in that miniseries.
Mhm.
Which sadly I have not seen. I need to see that. It's been, I don't know how many years.
Gosh,
Too
I
many.
haven't watched the sci-fi miniseries since it first aired.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I got it on DVD when it first came out. Then I got the extended cut one, and I think I gave the original one away, which kind of I regret because I'm kind of a completist. But really, I don't need it. Didn't need it. So
Yeah.
also had a lot of nice extras on that extended version. I'm gonna
Mhm.
have to plug that in and watch it again.
And like I said, I became aware of Dune not through the books, but because of the '84 movie, the games that were released based off of Dune, and also the Sci-Fi Channel miniseries
Mm-hmm.
when it was actually Sci-Fi Channel.
Yeah.
And TGAP wants to know if you enjoyed the Sci-Fi miniseries.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I mean, there was some, obviously, I had some problems with some of the stuff that they had in there, but I guess I'm not going to give anything away. I was disappointed that the Dr. Yui uh, was relegated to just such a small part when that character, for the time that he is in the book, is very pivotal. And by doing so, you kind of take away the impact of what he does in the story. I'm not going to give anything away, but
Yeah,
just like I
I
had
understand.
problems just like I had problems in the movie when they were dealing with him too. I thought the guy in the movie, this new movie, I thought he was damn good. Just like I thought
Mhm.
Dean Stockwell was good in the original 1984 one.
Yeah.
But the guy, it's hard to sit back and say anything about the guy in the 2000 miniseries because again, the part was so microscopic, barely touched on it, and it's like, yeah, you're missing a very important part on this. You really are.
And Dempsey says just finished a homemade taco, actually. Sounds good, brother.
Ooh, but it's not Tuesday.
It doesn't have to be Tuesday to enjoy tacos.
Yeah, but it's even more delicious on a Tuesday because it's Taco Tuesday.
I know. And DJ Ronnie G says, "Hit me up, boys, if you can't find the sci-fi movie."
All right.
He says, I mean miniseries.
Mhm.
DJ Ronnie G knows a guy who knows the guy who knows the
Mhm.
guy that can get the series.
Yeah.
Out of the trunk of a Chevy Caprice downtown there, in Manhattan.
Yeah. Pop that trunk. Pop
And
that
TGAP
trunk.
adds, then you'll probably enjoy Children of Dune.
I think I will. I mean, I saw little bits and pieces of it. I've never seen it all the way through, but what I saw was kind of intriguing. Really was. So, yeah. And Children of Dune is a book. Not Children of Dune, but Dune Messiah was such a short book. So I can see why they put them together with Children of Dune.
Yeah. And hello to FKHC 2005, also known as Tim. Good to see you, Tim. He says, when are we 64 minutes in? It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
If that's your way of saying sorry I'm late, just know we do have a motto here on Pop Talk.
We do? What
Yes,
the
we
hell
do.
could it possibly be? I'm with bated breath on what that motto is.
This is the motto for anybody who comes in and says, sorry I'm late.
A wizard is never late. Nor is he early. He arrives precisely when he means to.
I love playing that clip. We don't get to play it that much.
No, we don't.
And T-Gap says, but to be fair, Baron, of all the things you would cut for time or pacing, Dr. Yu is kind of first on the list.
Ah, jeez. I would have given it a little bit more substance.
It's all right. It's all right to have a difference of opinion.
I know. I'm just thinking it over. Yeah, I mean, I think it was way too small. They should have had more to it. I mean, yeah, if you didn't have it as large as in the 84 film or whatever, but they needed a little bit more to have the impact of what was going to happen. How you to give you that feeling of what happens. And it's kind of hard to do that when it's being acted like you're a throwaway character. Yeah, I probably would make it a little bit shorter, but I would still give it some substance. And again, when it comes around to it, you don't need to have that. You don't necessarily have to have a lot of time. Even with the time that they had with the character that they put in there, they didn't do enough to show you the importance of this character to the family. They should have done a better job of making this an impactful thing. And what he does is so pivotal in the story, he needed more time. And I think that kind of steals away from that storytelling. So I slightly disagree with you on that one. Yeah, it didn't have to necessarily be a big, huge thing, but it needed to be more.
And TCAP also says the actress they have playing Aaliyah in Children of Dune has a great rack.
Yeah, I've seen her. Oh, God, she's beautiful. I mean, yeah, she's got, but she's also beautiful, stunningly beautiful.
And he also adds, I agree, it could have been done better, but you
Baron's
can cut out more of Yu's background in the story if you need be.
Yeah, it needed to be expanded on more.
You're starting to think about that scene from Wedding Crashers, aren't you? Have you ever seen Wedding Crashers?
No, I haven't. No.
The motorboat scene.
It's funny.
Oh, I don't know. I've seen a lot of movies with
Okay.
motorboat scenes, but I can't really tell you where I've
It's
seen them.
great, dude. Vince Vaughn's character, you motorboating son of a bitch, you old sailor, you. You got it, dude. It's hilarious, bro.
Well, you know, I was going to say something. I noticed in the new opening that we have that Mike did up, looks really great. But when it comes to your name, the O's in Hooligans kind of looks like the ones that in the Hooter logo, if you know what I mean.
Does it? That's funny.
Yeah.
Oh well, maybe
Yeah.
that's intentional.
That wasn't intentional. That wasn't intentional.
But it does. But it does show that, you know, sometimes you are a boob. So I mean, see what I did
so
there?
are you. So are you.
I know. Oh, I don't deny it. I don't deny it.
Well,
you know.
I know I've been redoing the intros these last few months, but I wanted to make things more cohesive, especially with the font, since the logo for Pop Talk has the ultra bold, condensed, and I used a different font for the opening credits at one time, but I thought, no, I want it all to be cohesive. So use the same font for the opening credits before the show starts. This way, for me, everything's cohesive. I don't care that I'm using a different font for the warning disclaimer. That could have its own different font. But when it came to the intro for Pop Talk, both for tonight's and also Wednesdays, I wanted everything to be a little bit more cohesive.
Mm-hmm. All I gotta say is, do not change the O's. Keep the O's as they are.
I probably won't be changing it for a while, Baron.
Okay, good. It's fitting for Cash.
So, getting into this article, it says Dune 3 status revealed by Legendary Entertainment CEO. This was posted yesterday. Andre Joseph. Following Dune Part 2's #1 opening weekend, Legendary Entertainment CEO Josh Grodd says the studio is prepared to move forward on Dune 3 once director Denis Villeneuve cracks the script. I think it's a movie where the word of mouth is going to carry it. It is a stupendous piece of filmmaking. There's no other way to say it. I've just about run out of adjectives, Grodd said in an interview with CNBC. We have to have all creative stakeholders aligned and support the vision. I think everybody is very excited and really enjoying this moment. And if Dennis gets the script right and he feels that he can deliver another experience on par with what we've just completed, then I don't see why not. Villeneuve helmed 2021's Dune and the recent installment, currently playing in theaters, as the first movie managed to amass 435 million worldwide during the pandemic, as well as HBO Max's day and date release strategy. Dune Part 2 appears to be tracking even bigger than its predecessor. Well, I would hope so, especially with it being out in theaters. The sequel has earned 81.5 million domestically in its opening weekend and another 97 million internationally.
Not that bad.
Right. No, it's not bad at all. Again, it's because here we are 3 years later and people are actually able to get out the theaters and experience a movie like this the way it's intended to be seen.
Right. Like if you can see it on IMAX, definitely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I've heard it's a great movie to see in IMAX. Unfortunately, I have to drive 2 hours to an IMAX and 2 hours back. Then you have to also factor in the time for the movie and also traffic. So
yeah. And yeah, because I was lucky. I did see the first one in theaters in the IMAX, and it's like, whoa, this is something else. So, I mean, I think any theater would be an experience. I think any theater would be. I wonder what it'd be like in the 3D mode. So, hey, he's wearing a still suit from the '84. So,
and it says, though Villeneuve expressed taking a break from the world of Arrakis in favor of an original project. The director is currently developing the threequel script based on Frank Herbert's 1969 novel Dune Messiah. Additionally, Part 2's conclusion plants the seeds for a much darker fate for Paul Atreides.
You could say that.
Oh, yeah, yeah. All the elements are there, Villeneuve said to Total Film magazine, but I think the movie adaptation is more tragic than the book. The way that part 2 ends, it would create a total balance and equilibrium to finish Paul's storyline in what we could say in parts 3. Dune Part 2 is now playing in theaters. Dune 3 does not have a release date. So we know they want to make it. The question is, when will they make it? And during that time, when will it be released?
My question is, are they going to try to do all the books? Because the next one following through with that would be God. You know, I'm assuming that if they did do it, Messiah and Children of Dune would be one, just like they did with the miniseries. Because again, the size of Dune Messiah. But then you get the fourth book, God Emperor of Dune, and man, you need to drop acid. You know, you're going to have to drop acid with that one because you almost need to do that to read the book. It is so weird and bizarre. Oh, I'm not kidding.
No, I believe you, Baron. I think it all depends, of course, how much money this makes. I have a feeling with the opening weekend. I have a feeling, I can't say for sure, but that this movie is definitely going to make more than part 2 because, as Mike said, people can go to the theaters now, or they feel they're more comfortable about it after a few years after the Koofa-Doof. So, so this should make more money than the part 1. Excuse me, part 1. Part 2 should make more money than part 1, and then if that is the case, then part 3 should obviously going to happen, and we'll see where it goes from there.
Right. I'm going to have to get these on Blu-ray to have a physical copy because that's the way to go, man.
Yep. Amazon will probably be able to hook you up because there's it's going to get, I don't know. I know what Best Buy's done.
It's going to get harder to get physical media as you have these stores that are willing to dump physical media. And sorry, I want to have my physical media so I can watch it at any time and not rely on 3 billion streaming services. I know that it's an exaggeration, but
yeah. Well, especially, and of course, you're gonna. What if you're in an area that doesn't have internet connection? You're gonna want to have a physical one. No, you're at the cabin. Let's watch a movie. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, with all that, I'm sure Amazon is going to have it, and I don't care if I get it from their country because I got a region-free Blu-ray player. So, I mean, if they decide to screw us here in the States, well, okay, fine. I'm sure there's some place in the world that's going to have it.
It's all right. You need a Blu-ray player, you get a PS4. That'll hook you up, or an Xbox or whatever. Yeah.
Well, I got my Blu-ray player, man.
Then you're good.
Yeah, I told you I got that. I have that region-free one I got, and boy, she's beautiful. Nice. I've been watching Thunder the Barbarian and the animated D&D on there. Boy, it looks pretty. Oh, it looks
nice.
But see, that's the way to go too, Baron. Is region free because if you can't find it, as far as a native release for North America, well, then you at least have the opportunity to buy the European release.
I mean, I would be tempted to get the Harry Potter British versions because it's not the Sorcerer's Stone; it's the Philosopher's Stone. It's like I don't want to watch a something that gets the book too that they figured they had to dumb down for us Americans because we wouldn't understand what the Philosopher's Stone was. And it's like, yeah, that's what they did. I mean,
it's unfortunate.
Yeah, it is. I mean, they should never have changed it for the American market, but they did. And not that I'm a big Harry Potter fan, but it just, I read the books. I thought they were okay.
But is it a better title than Attack of the Clones?
Yeah. Attack of the Clones. Well,
It's
we
okay.
thought
It's an okay title.
Well,
I've heard worse.
well, the Phantom Menace. When I heard the Phantom
Mm.
Menace, I was like, what the hell kind of title is that?
It was okay. Could have been better. Revenge of the
Well,
Sith is still a solid
yeah.
title, though, I should say.
Well, yeah, it's a play off of the Revenge of the Jedi that they tried to return. So actually, it's it has that closure, back and forth. So I don't know. Now that everything's said and done, you can understand the Phantom Menace. You can understand that now, but at the time, you really didn't know. And it's like, and George even sat back and said, but you'll understand it all by the time you get to the third movie. And it does. Now you understand what they had.
Yes, so. Yes.
All right. Anything else you guys want to say about this before we move on?
Yeah, I hope I can get out and see this.
Yeah, I want to see
sometime soon here.
I think on late March, my brother and I are going to watch part 2. So I'm going to convince him we should go see it in IMAX. I think we saw the first one in IMAX. So yeah,
I'm not too and I'm not that against. I mean, I have some issues with the movies. A little bit. I don't understand why they made the Harkonnens bald. I don't. They were redheads,
right? And they were like that in the original film.
Yeah, and also in the miniseries too.
That's true.
And that was the important thing, because they were that Slavic, that Slavic Russian line. While you had Atreides, that was like your Greek line. If you want to go with the Emperor Shaddam IV, that was more your Italian line.
Well, we do know there is.
Let me ask this: there's a period of time in Hollywood where they're going against redheads. Do you think?
Exactly. I was about to bring that up.
Yeah, I think so.
I think there is. So. I think it's ridiculous. I don't know why we would want to shun redheads. I don't care if they're men or women. That makes no sense to me.
I would thought they'd flock to it because see the redhead's the bad guy. The bad guy. I thought they. Well, and I know that you still today have some people with the nose out of joint because Baron Harkonnen is a homosexual, and it's like their nose is out of joint that you have him being portrayed as this depraved monster. Well, it's not because he's a homosexual; it's because he's a depraved monster.
Is that really a thing, Baron? Of course it is. Okay.
What, that he is, or that people are outraged or angry about it?
Just I mean, that they're upset about it. It doesn't matter if he's homosexual, straight, gay, half helicopter, whatever. Characters can be evil and be gay, straight, whatever. Right. It's just part of their character.
Yeah, and they didn't dwell on it. Well, and the thing is, they didn't dwell upon it either.
Right.
It's like you knew he was, by how what he was letting his preferences be known. But that's I don't know if they express it more in the part 2 or not. But yeah, I mean that's the case, and anybody can be a bad guy. Anybody can be a good guy.
Yes.
Frank Herbert wasn't trying to make some message. Not about that, at least.
Right.
So. And I do want to say hello to the old man who stopped in.
Howdy, I hope you're feeling better. Yeah.
All right, so let's go ahead and go on to our next story here. This is something I didn't know about.
I didn't know about this either.
And when Baron posted it in the Pop Talk,
it's from Polygon
Discord, I was like, I didn't know about this. So yes, Cash, it is from Polygon. It's by Tasha Robinson. It was posted yesterday on their site. It says the banned trans Joker movie finally has a trailer and a theatrical release. The People's Joker will open across the country on April 5th, legally, seriously. Okay, it says back in 2022, Vera Drew's highly personal, incredibly irreverent, stylized memoir movie, The People's Joker, made a splashy made a splashy debut at the Toronto International Film Festival. In that, immediately after its premiere, DC Comics parent company Warner Brothers filed a cease and desist order against the movie, shutting down all subsequent screenings and throwing the movie's future into doubt.
Gee, I
It's taken
wonder
years.
why.
Because they're using intellectual property.
That's exactly it. Yeah. Hope they don't try to skew it anything other than that.
It's taken years for the film to see the light of day outside of the occasional festival screening. I saw it at a 2023 Fantastic Fest where Vera Drew was present to talk about the experience, but was careful not to address the question of whether her film might ever get a real theatrical run. But now, according to the poster, it's coming soon, legally, seriously.
Okay.
The People's Joker has finally been cleared for release, albeit covered in disclaimers, reminding everyone that it isn't an official DC project and that its satirical takes on Batman, the Joker, Harley Quinn, and the Penguin and other comics characters aren't canon or affiliated with WB products. Not that anyone who's ever seen the movie could make that mistake. The People's Joker is unmistakably a personal story, specifically a transgender awakening and coming out story, complete with a first career romance and a journey of self definition. It goes on to say,
Yeah.
it's patterned somewhat after Todd Phillips' Joker, but it's unmistakably its own riotous, gleeful, deeply emotional creation, a genre mashup that uses costuming, simple animation effects, digital veneers, and goofy props to stylize Vera's coming of age story by turning it into a pop art odyssey. Here's the official description. In the absurd, it's autobiographically inspired dark comedy that boldly reimagines the Joker's origin, a painfully unfunny, aspiring clown, Vera Drew as Joker, the Harlequin, grapples with her gender identity while unsuccessfully attempting to join the ranks of Gotham City's sole comedy program in a world where comedy has been outlawed. Uniting with a ragtag team of rejects and misfits, Joker the Harlequin forms an illegal anti comedy troupe that puts her on a collision course with the devious Caped Crusader controlling the city. The People's Joker features cameos from comedy multi hyphenate Tim Heidecker, award winning actor Bob Odenkirk, Maria Bamford. I know who Bob Odenkirk is.
Yes.
Netflix
he's
Big
coming-
Mouth, Adult Swim's Teenage Enthusiasm. What were you going to say, Baron?
Yeah, Odenkirk's about the only name I recognize.
Scott Ackerman, Between Two Ferns with Zach Galifianakis, co-creator and host of the comedy Bang Bang podcast. Vera Drew, Lynn Downey, Amazon Prime Video's Daisy Jones and The Six. Well, I've never watched them, so that's why I'm not familiar. Nathan Fuston, Saddled, and Kane Disler in his film debut, making up the film's core cast with her own life as a trans woman and artist motivating the film's story and theme. The script was co-written by close creative collaborator Brie LaRose, Netflix Magic for Humans, and Chad and JT Go Deep. The People's Joker will open April 5th in New York at the IFC Center and expand across the US and Canada over the course of April and May. You can find a list of participating theaters and screening dates at the movie's website.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not official DC.
I mean, I
yet.
usually want to see something
no,
that Odenkirk is in, but this just doesn't. Right.
This sounds like a
Yes.
narcissistic mishmash of word salad bullshit.
Mhm.
And it's not because they have to deal with someone who's trans or anything like that, but just
No.
some of the description is me. This is about me. It's like, no, I don't want to see it about you. And this was truly a biographical story. That's different.
Right.
Yeah.
But everything just sounds totally wrong.
Well, that article on Polygon, I didn't feel there was anything lecture in there, anything. They just put out the story. The person said they saw it. They didn't really give any kind of like they liked it or they didn't like it. They just said they saw it, and
they sounded like they were gushing in there. It sounded like a bunch
maybe
of
a little bit, yeah.
Which is different. Yeah, I mean, you kind of expect something like that when you're dealing with entertainment. But yeah, there was a lot of gushing in there. It's like, ooh, the struggle, which again, it's not, it's just simping. There's a lot of simping in the story. But I want to know how they got around it. What agreement did they make with DC?
Yeah, there's no way.
Well, maybe all the profit made from the movie goes to Warner Brothers.
Right, that's what I'm thinking. Probably because these are obviously their properties. So,
right.
Even if they want to change the story with the transgender Joker or whatever it is, just.
Well, yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, they changed everything. It's like Harley Quinn was a psychiatrist, not
she is. She is.
Right. So it's like this is going completely against the legend and lore, which is neither here nor there when we're talking about this. But still, you're using you could come up with your own if you wanted to do this.
That's the thing. We know that there are quote unquote creators who can't come up with their own. They're always going to take what's already there and change it for their benefit.
Right.
Yeah.
Not continue the story as it should.
Right. And they always want to change established characters. Look, this might be somewhat interesting. Then again, it might not. It's like what you said, Baron. There's a lot of narcissism, and that's usually a bad sign. But some people will probably be like, this might be interesting. Then again, people may not. But I don't know. I just remember when they're building these characters, as they've said, they take these established characters, they change them because their excuse is always the same, Baron, that they can't make a new character because then people wouldn't like it, but they won't even try. A lot of the time, they won't even try. So,
and the thing is every established character started out as a newbie, never been before.
Of course.
And so
that as well. Yeah, dude.
Right.
Exactly.
So that argument rings hollow. It really rings hollow. And all you have to do is take a look how characters that were introduced. I mean, Harley Quinn. I mean, crying out loud. I mean, she was basically introduced for the Batman animated show, and look what happened to her.
Yeah, she became a popular character.
Very popular.
Exactly.
And
yes,
I mean,
very
again,
popular.
and when you think about going to see it, there's people that love to see a train wreck, and this sounds like a train wreck. Just from all the descriptions in there.
I wonder how much they paid Odenkirk to be in this, though. That's crazy.
I don't know. I don't know. And when they list all those other people, it's like, I'm listening to them list off all these names, and this comes to mind.
I don't know who any of those people are.
So I mean,
maybe one day we will.
And then maybe not.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to be nice. I'm just trying to look at it from the aspect of, Sam Rockwell. Nobody knew who he was when he appeared in
Mhm.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles back in 1990. Now look at him.
Right. Everybody has to start somewhere, and sometimes it's not really a glorious start. I mean, Kevin Costner was in The Big Chill, and his big scene was lean as a corpse. You know, and the scenes where he was still alive were cut out. So, I mean, wow, you know, what a career starter. I'm just.
One of John Wayne's first movie was like a B Western. Nobody really knew who he was back then. Look
Yeah,
what
Marion
happened when he
Morrison,
became
the Singing
Duke.
Cowboy. Yeah, it was Marion Morrison, the Singing Cowboy, and he did, you know, several what you would call those, you know, serials or whatever, and then boom, he explodes big. I mean, even Leonard Nimoy was in one of those, you know, the Radar Men of the Moon. Yeah. So I mean, you got to start somewheres.
Yes,
you really got to start somewheres.
And you should not expect a big role or any or anything really great, especially when you're starting your career. And I think a lot of people now who are coming into acting think that they are so great that they deserve this and they deserve that. Like
Right.
it doesn't work that way. It should never work like that.
Mm-hmm.
The people who are already established deserve to get probably deserve to get the better roles, but people who are just starting out, then, you know, if they get a small part, then be happy. You got paid for this and do the best you can. Yeah.
Right. If you do the best you can with something that's crap, people are going to notice. And they're going to sit back and say, well, if they're putting their all into this, what will they do for mine?
Exactly.
And I think a lot of people have forgotten that, or choose not to even think about that. But this also reminds me, I can't remember, I think it was like in the 60s, someone did a sexploitation film using Marvel. I can't remember, it was Batwoman or a Superwoman type of thing. And DC came down hard. So when they went through and literally scratched out the logo on the costume, every frame. And that's how they were able to keep it going out there. So you watch the person going along, and you see these squiggly lines on the cape and on the outfit, and it's like, yeah, that's them scratching out the logo. You hear that, or they get sued. So,
yes.
So that's why it makes me wonder.
Well, they do that too on soap operas with product placement and.
Oh yeah, I mean they put the whole.
Remember in the 80s, especially, whenever you saw them drinking milk, it wasn't for any particular dairy farms brand or known brand of milk company. It was just always this blue and white milk carton, and it said milk on it.
Yeah, and maybe it had a kid's face on it, like Married with Children when they put 6 on there. After he was, they kicked him off the series. But yeah, it's always generic. Same thing with like Dick Tracy.
Dick Tracy, so underrated, dude.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the comics. I'm talking about the comics.
Gotcha,
he made everything generic in there, and they went through and the people that did the movie, which was of course Warren Beatty, was such a big fan of it. His big thing was everything that they had in there was generic. There was no name brands on anything that you would see there. If there's a pack of cigarettes or a drink or a bottle, there was no name brands, no name brands at all. He wanted to keep that alive still. And that's dedication. You got to give props to that, especially when you have someone going out there and wanting to push product placement for more money. Because I'm sure there might have been. It's like, no, do that. Well, what was it? I can't remember what they had for the Shadow movie with Bang Bang Boom Boom Alec Baldwin.
That's right.
They had that big cigarettes. Yeah, they had that big cigarette sign, but instead of Camel, it was something else that was like that. So they were kind of poking fun at the advertisements for Camel cigarettes, and I found that amusing.
Yeah, it was a spoof.
Yeah. It was like, okay, score 1 for the people doing the Shadow. Mediocre film. It's watchable. I was expecting more because I love The Shadow.
I didn't like it.
Yeah, I mean, when I say watchable, it means I saw it once.
Yeah. And I know what you mean. You saw it once, and that was enough for you.
Right.
But there is.
Oh, sorry. I was
I
going to
was
say.
just
I
going to do
mean,
a segue.
Oh, okay. Do a segue. I was ruining. I'm sorry. I ruined it. I'm sorry. I'll just let myself out.
I'm going to let you back in. Don't be like that.
Hey, quick. Hey, careful. Don't crease the shirt, man, when you yank me in here. I had this pressed. Doggone it. You know how much this suit costs, man? More than you'll ever be. Yeah, $2.
$2?
Yeah. $2. Yeah, $2 Chuck. Yeah. Or put me above Cash. He's gone again.
Yeah. But speaking of a movie that many of us have watched more than once, because it's a very good movie, it's a movie, it's a very powerful movie. It's based on actual real life events. Liam Neeson talks about how he lost it just before shooting his first scene in Schindler's List. This is by Jessica Fisher. It was posted a day ago on Geek Tyrant. Let me get the link out there.
Geek Tyrant, those tyrants.
I like looking at their site every now and then just to see what articles they have out there. And
usually, everything that we look at usually might have an article for us to hit, even if we do make fun of it.
Yeah.
We're not boring like the other guys out there. Shh. Don't tell them I said that.
So it says the 7-time Academy Award winning Holocaust drama Schindler's List was a decade in the making for acclaimed director Steven Spielberg, who first heard about the book based on the true story when he had just released his 1982 hit film E.T. the Extraterrestrial. After reading the story, he started the long process of acquiring the rights and setting out to to find a writer and actors who could tell such a delicate story in just the way he envisioned. Well, part of telling the story too, I think what also made the impact was the fact that it was filmed in black and white.
Yeah, which he had to fight for. Because unfortunately, you do have people out there. It's black and white. I'm not going to watch it. You're a moron. You're missing out on so much.
It says once casting was completed, and he had hired Liam Neeson in the role of industrialist Oskar Schindler, the man who employed Jews in his camp during the Holocaust in order to save them from death. They traveled to. I'm gonna butcher this, so I'm not even gonna say it. That's how bad I'm gonna butcher it, Baron.
You talk.
Okay. I'll try it. Krakow. Oh, yeah. See, I told you I was gonna butcher it.
It's Polish. They don't notice. They drink a lot of vodka, smoke a lot of cigarettes. They won't notice.
To shoot the film in the place where the real events happened. Spielberg was joined by his two producers, Jerry Molen and Branko Lustig, the latter of which Spielberg says came to his office and pitched himself by rolling up his sleeve and showing his Auschwitz numbers tattooed on his forearm. In an in-depth history on the making of the film with the Hollywood Reporter, Neeson talked about how he wrapped up the Broadway show Anna Christie and headed to Poland the next day. He had worked with a dialect coach and had watched footage of Schindler in preparation for the role, but nothing could have prepared him for the feelings he was met with when he was finally on set, he explained. Before my first scene, we were at the gates of Auschwitz. I was walking outside the barbed wire, waiting to be called to set. I had my Schindler stuff on, a big fur lined coat, and I was a little nervous looking at the huts inside Auschwitz. Bronco sided up beside me and said, "How do you feel?" I said, "I feel okay. It's an intense scene, and it'll be good to get it under my belt." Bronco casually pointed to a hut and said, "See that hut there? Second from the left?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "That's where I was." Fuck, I just lost it. He was there at the age of 6. 2 years he spent there. I remember my knees weakened, and I thought, you've got to pull yourself together, man. This isn't acting in just another movie. No, especially if you're actually at one of the locations where many people lost their lives because of a certain mustached man.
The Austrian Corporal Pointer.
Yeah. And goes on to say, I can't even imagine the weight of taking on a role like this. Neeson was the perfect actor for the part, and the film turned out beautifully, going on to win 7 Academy Awards and remaining one of Spielberg's best pictures and one of the most important films of all time. Yes. Because what happened at those concentration camps, it's appalling, even to this day, that there are a group of people who would just stand by and let another group of people be terminated just because they didn't agree with them.
And the
Sickening, isn't it?
It is. And the sad thing is things like this still happen yet to this day.
Yeah.
Yes.
When they say never forget, well, guess what? You have forgotten. And
yes.
So it's not just because it's not just the Jews and the gypsies and the Poles and the communists and the homosexuals, primarily male. For some reason, lesbianism or women bisexuality, they didn't frown upon, but it was male that was they didn't like. So if you were a gay Jew, you had the Star of David with a pink triangle inside there. Fascinating enough on that one, but you had all of them that went through there. But you look at, and you just have to look like in places in Africa or the Middle East, in a lot of those countries, you got the same crap going on today.
Yep.
I mean, and you had it going with the Soviet Union for all those years. You take a look at the body count that Stalin had, which was even worse. And of course, you had that dissident, the Russian dissident that was basically, when they talk about going to Siberia, well, that was him. He went to that, what they always talk about, going to the Siberian prison. He went to that frozen hell. And how many people are put in there because political reasons, going into these places because they don't like they don't like your religion. They don't like that you are religious. They don't like the whatever it is, and it's still out there, and that's the sad thing.
It hasn't changed. All these years later, we're still dealing with the same problem.
Right. And what have you learned from this? Nothing. And as someone who looks at history, what do? You get this dent on your forehead because you keep on banging your head on the freaking desk going, my God, don't you know what happened? No, I don't know anything outside of my 20-year bubble. We talk about all the time with our pop culture, right? How they don't even remember what Star Trek, Star Wars, which is, this is stuff is like stuff. I mean, yeah, we consider it important because it's, again, legend, lore, telling stories and all that stuff. But when it comes around to important actual things that happened historically, where it really shook the world, they don't know. They don't care. They're not going to see that. They think that, oh my God, Taylor Swift only being in Singapore and not the other Asian countries. That's so horrible. That's the most drastic thing there is. I mean, I was watching that. They had this big thing about that. It's like, oh, that's newsworthy? That's what's freaking important? Not the other crap that's going on in those countries, if not more.
Mm-hmm.
Bread and circuses, man. Bread and circuses.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, what he felt when he walked up to the gates there, just like you have people who are either reenactments or doing movies, and they go to the Civil War sites, and they can feel it there, like Gettysburg. You know, even just visiting Gettysburg, how you can just feel that presence of what happened, the horror, the terror.
Yeah, because I went to Gettysburg on a DC trip in the 6th grade with my dad.
Mm-hmm.
And you could still feel the presence of the ghost.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I remember going to Custer Battlefield and the same thing there. I mean, and that's neither here nor there what you view Custer as but you know, as a young kid went there. It's a historical site. It's worth taking a look at, but you can still feel that presence there.
Mm-hmm.
Where old Yeller here turned around and really fucks things up.
the teardrop coming off the soldier's eye at the Korean Memorial right next to the Vietnam Memorial at night was really crazy.
And that's the thing. You go to the Vietnam Memorial in DC, and you're just looking at all the names of those who were either killed in action or missing in action.
Yeah,
and it hits you. Even back in November when I went to the touring replica of the Vietnam Memorial that came to my area, it still hit you.
Right. I mean, I've been there. I've seen that in DC, and yeah, it's something else. All those names, and the sad fact, knowing that back then there were people that were cheering these baby killers being dead.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
And why Jane Fonda will never, never have peace on this earth because of all the veterans that just absolutely despise her. All she has to do is open up her. Yeah, well, all she has to do is open up her mouth, and you can see why.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can see that being impactful for him walking up to a place that, you know, and being with someone who was there. You know, being at historical sites and being with either people that had been there or, you know, even without it, you can just, it hits you. It hits you.
It hits you, especially when you have that producer who still has that constant reminder from this time there.
Right.
That tattoo with the numbers.
Which is an anathema to them because if you are a practicing Jew, particularly conservative or Orthodox, you cannot have a tattoo. Tattoos are verboten. And so just having one is demeaning. It's demeaning just to have that for someone of the Hebrew persuasion, if they're faithful, that is. So, because, you know, there are many that aren't. And there are many that weren't back then either, you know, just like today. They just happen to be part of the ethnic group. But, yeah. But, yeah, we learned nothing. And the impact of him walking up there, I can truly... I hate to say appreciate, but understand maybe across the board. It is a powerful thing.
It is,
and yeah, I mean, again, it's a black and white film again, which will be a lot of people today. I'm not going to watch it because it's black and white.
Oh no!
Yeah,
it just makes it more effective, but.
Well, yeah, it really does. And that was the important thing about it. I mean, it was a great decision. I know it was a fight with the studio, but, you know, art, you know, we were talking about before, you know, when Dakota Johnson, or what was her name was?
Yeah, Dakota Johnson.
And talking about going going through the machine of basically conquest by committee, right? With doing movies. And that's just it. Art is not a science. There is no formula. There is no formula to art. It either happens or not. You either able to grab the person or repulse them or make them not care. But it's just one of those things that you can't necessarily replicate. Like they say, the lightning in the bottle. Everyone's talking about that with Next Generation, right?
Right.
So with Spielberg keeping to his guns on this, he knew what he was doing. And again, it was, this is art. It's no science to it. Yeah, it's a serious subject, but it's still being presented in the form of art.
Mm-hmm.
And it has to be delivered properly if you're going to get the proper message and meaning through.
They definitely were able to accomplish that.
Right. I mean, the film also to follow through with that one is one called Downfall. It's only in German, and it chronicles the last day of the Austrian painter turned political leader. And actually, he's that happens like halfway through the film, but it deals with the real life people in and around that, and how people were either complacent, people were true believers, and then people who were basically, they had to do it. They were basically forced to, and what they were going through as the Russians come barreling through Berlin. And as I sat back and said, if you are a person who suffers from depression, don't watch this movie.
No.
It's a brilliant movie, but you're going to go away and you're going to feel like you've been hit with the gut, just like this film.
Yeah. It's a film where I had to be in the right mood to watch it.
Mm-hmm. Which one, Schindler's
as much
or
as I,
Downfall?
Schindler's List. It's still a movie where I have to be in that mindset to watch it. I like the film. I like the film because it's, again, historical. But again, it's one of those movies where if I'm going to sit down and watch it, I have to be in that right mind frame.
Right.
Yep. And I can understand that some people have watched some of this and then they just haven't finished this. I mean, these are hard things to watch, just like Band of Brothers. I mean, it's not pleasant.
Well, right. If you're going to do a proper war film, it's going to end up being an anti-war film if you do it properly. No matter what, if you're just going out there and doing something properly, it's going to be an anti-war film because you're going to see that there's no glory in this. Yeah, you have brave people doing things. You have people who were farmers that now are in these extraordinary situations. They rise up to the call. And, these people, be they drafted or whether they enlisted, I mean, really, honestly, I don't say this lightly, but heroes. Well, could you do that? Could you do that knowing that you're going to get shot at? And now you have this film. Go on.
I don't know how many of us could. No, I don't.
And now you take a look at this film, or even Downfall, and seeing the effects on society with lies, duplicity, propaganda, the bad propaganda, playing people like a violin.
They're spinning history to make it about their stupid agenda when it's not even about that. So that's not good. You should never do that.
Yeah, well, I'm just holding back because I know we're going to Rumble because I'm going to say some
we
stuff
are.
that we can't say on here.
Right. Well,
in
we're
relation to this. Yeah.
Yep.
But before we go to Rumble, is there anything you gentlemen would like to promote for yourselves?
Well, if I keep my head together and such like that, Saturday at 7:00 Central Standard Time on Fandom Legacy, we'll do Babylon 5 Season 4. We're going into the latter half. It's going to be with these two jokers with me, so the Three Stooges, as well as Phil McCracken of Release McCracken, and of course Lord Crit of Everest Production. He'll hopefully be swimming in and with a bucket full of krill and join us. We can tackle 4 episodes. Usually we've been doing 4 episodes, so that way we're not getting overpowered and going too long.
Yeah, if you don't, man, I'm sending the shadows after you, Baron. I am.
How you know that I'm not Mr. Morden?
Ah, Mr. Morden. Mr. Morden. Yes.
Cash, what do you want?
No, don't ask me that question, you son of a bitch. That's when you have to push Mr. Morden out the airlock. Yes, no, that's that.
Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Great character, though. Great character.
Oh, great character and a great actor. He did such a freaking good job.
Definitely got what he deserved.
Yeah, and real quick, Tim is saying, I knew a German World War II pilot as a kid. Don't know if he believed in the stuff Mr. Mustache said. He became a missionary after the war in the Pacific.
Mm-hmm.
No. I told you, DJ Ronnie G, do not let your turtles feed you something, or you think they do. You got to stop taking those psychedelic drugs, bro. It's okay.
Do turtles have like the frogs where you like the frog, you kind of get stoned? Do they have turtles like that?
Wait, we need to find out about what Alex Jones Baron thinks, or Tag.
What? Are you? What are you doing? Are you summoning them? Are you summoning them? Oh, sorry,
Baron Orman Jones, everybody.
That's right.
The chemicals in the water are turning the freaking gourd gay.
Woohoo!
I got the dogs barking.
Oh boy. So, Cash, what's coming up with the Fan of Hooligans?
All right, so
Cash?
we got. All right, so Baron, I'm guessing you'll be able to make it this. Yep. Hello.
Yeah.
This
yeah.
StreamYard today.
Are you there?
Okay. Yes, I'm here. Okay.
Yeah, Vermintide, we got some rats to kill, man.
We got rats to kill, man.
And chaos, man.
That's right, in chaos, yes. 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We're going to be playing Vermintide 2, so that'll be a lot of fun. And on the Phantom Hooligans, and we'll see what kind of nonsense goes on there, and hopefully we'll complete some more goals, get some more weapons, which would be nice, and armor.
Shenanigans.
Especially weapons, yep, shenanigans.
Oh yeah.
And then probably no, it's looking that way. On Saturday, Phil and I are going to do a live stream. We're going to work on finishing up Myth Force, and then I can show the rest of the group if you guys want to finish the game. What goes on?
You hear that, Baird? He and Phil are going to finish up Myth Force. We're not invited because we're not as high ranking as he is.
Where's my Myth Force?
Because he and Phil are higher ranking than we are in Myth Force. We're not invited.
Well, he's from Delaware. Cash is in California. Cash is in California. Phil's in Delaware. I mean, two great bastions of leadership.
No, we're just overdue because I did promise Phil that we would play some Myth Force, and he really wants to, and he's feeling better. So
good.
Mm-hmm.
But all I got.
But no, I will. You guys, I'll show you guys how to do that so you guys can finish the game too, because we need everybody to finish it. I don't know who's going to first get the 4th star that's 900k gold, but somebody might.
Good luck with that.
Seriously.
No, seriously, good luck with that.
I know.
Yeah, amen.
Insane.
Myth Force.
Myth Force. So yeah, that's coming up, and then some other stuff I'm still working on, but those are the main 2 things right now on the Phantom Hooligans.
And as far as what's coming up on Pacific414, namely the YouTube, Twitch, Kick, and Rumble channels, I will be back tomorrow with another live stream of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I think I have the problem for YouTube fixed and figured out with that green screen that popped up again. Baron, thank you for letting me know about it.
I like that
Because-
green thing. I thought it really added to it.
because it wasn't showing up on the other streams when I checked it, and I wasn't even aware of it.
Yeah.
As far as I knew, everything was running smoothly. And then you said, "Are you aware that there's a green screen?" No.
Yeah. And
No,
then I
I'm
went
not.
to Rumble, and Rumble was fine and dandy. So yeah.
So hopefully it is fixed. I did a few things, and I asked a couple of people if they've ever experienced it before, and they gave me some suggestions, which I worked on before Pop Talk started. And besides working on the new intro and finalizing that, so that'll be coming up tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern on all 4 Pacific414 channels: YouTube, Rumble, Twitch, and Kick. And then, of course, on Sunday, it'll be our normal 1 p.m. start time, 1 p.m. Eastern start time for the Sunday edition of Pop Talk. And next week, it'll probably be more of the same with some more Mad Max gameplay and also more Final Fantasy VII Rebirth gameplay, along with Pop Talk on Wednesday. So, for those of you who joined us over on YouTube, we had Anonymous. We also had Jason Fox from 540 Studio. DJ Ronnie G.
Nerd.
Phil McCracken.
Worst troll ever.
T-Gap Steve.
The award-winning writer, T-Gap Steve.
Very true. Dempsey. Good to see you, Dempsey. Good to see everybody. As a matter of fact, old man.
No, Dempsey hasn't offered me a drink. He's drunk, right? He should have a drink. He should offer me one. I need one.
All right, Dempsey. Get on it, brother.
Yeah, man.
And
come
Tim
on, man.
Stock. But of course, we're not quite done yet. We are shifting completely over to Rumble. So, ladies and gentlemen, anybody lurking, hit this link that should be appearing right now on the YouTube side and join us on Rumble in about, I don't know, a few seconds here or there. Come on, folks. Join us in 5,